we're going to be doing a few lessons on gourd art. So I thought I'd begin by kind of talking about gourds and what they are and a little bit about them. So what we're doing for this project is we're going to be doing a pendant. But before we start the project, I'm going to tell you a little bit about gourds. Now, a gourd is a hard-shelled crop plant similar to a pumpkin. So this is an example of, I think this is called a swan gourd because of the neck. But this is like a fresh one. But you can see it has a hard shell compared to a pumpkin where you could even scrape into it, like when you carve it. So this is what it looks like when you pull it off the vine. Now, in order to use it as a art media, it needs to be dried. And like the process of this is you would plant your seeds, and your seeds look similar to this. These are some seeds that I've harvested from processing the gourd. So this would be what your seeds look like. And you would plant them in the spring in May. And then in September, after the first freeze, you would pick your gourds, and they would be like this. And then you would let them dry for a full season. So until your next planting season in the spring, you'd let them dry until they had no moisture in them. So, and they kind of have like a old dirty looking surface in them, and then you have to clean them off. So this is what a dried gourd would look like. Now these are small ones compared to this one. This one would look the same way, except it would be this size. So you would take your dried ones, and you'd be able to tell them dried because if you shake them, you can hear the seeds inside them. So then you would have your dried gourds. You'd clean them up with some water and get them nice so the surface is clean. And then you would either use them in their whole form as an artwork. And a lot of countries, they use gourds for like their, for art, or even for like spoons or vessels to hold things with. And they would use like the full form, or they would cut them open. So this is an example of one. I think this is from Native America, or South America, but where they've gone in and decorated it. So you could use it in the whole form, or you could cut it into pieces. So this one here is one where I cut, it was a half of a gourd, that the bottom of it, and then it was cut open and decorated and then made into like a woven basket type of container. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some shards, which is just little pieces. So if you were to break it open and use it for mini pieces, or just harvest the seeds from it, then you would have all these pieces. And when you first break them open, they're going to have this pulp inside them. And then it'll also have those seeds. And that's where those seeds that I showed you earlier came from. So you need to process the gourd. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a spoon or some of these carving tools, and you're going to scrape out all of this. And I'm not going to do a lot because it's something where you want to do it outside or somewhere where you have open air, so it's not getting in, so you don't breathe it in. So you're going to scrape out all this, and I've got all these tools that you could scrape it out with. Then once you have it all scraped out, all this like styrofoamy pulp scraped out, then you're going to take some sandpaper, and you're going to go in and sand it. And you want to get it to where there's no white showing. So if you look at these that I've done, it should be clean enough to where you could go in and paint that surface. You don't want to have any sharp edges, because if this is something that you're going to wear as a piece of jewelry, and that's what we're going to do, we're going to create a pendant, you don't want to have something that's going to feel rough on the skin. So you're going to take your sandpaper and you're going to sand it. And again, I don't want to do this here because you need to sand it in an open area or have a mask on or something. So you would sand all the area to where it's a nice smooth, and you can see this one, nice smooth surface to where it has no sharp edges. Once you have your piece all cleaned, so you have no sharp edges, it's nice and smooth, there's nothing that's going to cut or irritate you, then you're ready to do your design. So I have a whole bunch of pieces for you. Some have holes in them, some do not. That's easy. We can use the wood burner to burn some holes in them. But you're going to find a piece of shard that you like. It can be any shape. Like these two I liked to, I used them to make an earring set because they were similar in look. But it doesn't have to be something. It could be any type of shape you want. This one I thought would be a cool pendant. I thought it would hang nicely. So I did my holes here to where it would hang to go along with these earrings here. So any shape will work. It doesn't have to be a traditional type of shape. So once you have your shape, it's sanded down, it's ready to go, you're going to do your decoration. Now, this surface is hard like wood, but it kind of has the, kind of feels kind of like a leather. So we're going to use wood burning tools to do our design. Now, I'm going to give you some scrap to use to practice with, because a wood burner is a new tool that you haven't used before. So you're going to get the wood burner tool, and you're all going to have a wood burning tool. And usually the tip that works the best is this flat head tip, because you can draw with the edge here, or you can draw a flat drawed edge line too. So, and you're just going to practice. I found it was easiest to do lines. So you may, after you practice, you may decide, okay, I want to do a pattern that is mostly in line. So if you want to do that, then once you've practiced, you can decide on what type of line or pattern you want to do, determined by how your practice went. So when you do this, you just go in, and just a second, you just go in and start to burn into the surface. Now, like I said, I found it was harder to do a circle than it was a line. But I also found that if you turn it on its edge, you can burn like more of a thick line. So once you experiment and decide what you're going to do or practice, then you're going to move to your actual piece of shard. So once you practice, then you'll move to your piece of shard. Now, again, these aren't going to be, you may have a pattern in mind, but as you go, it may change, because this tool is not something that you have lots of control like a pencil or something. So you may have to go with your mistakes and turn it into something else, but that's kind of how everything goes. So once you have your pattern and you think you've practiced enough, then you're going to move to your shard piece and draw on your pattern. Now, once you have your wood burnt pattern on your shard piece, then we're going to add some color. Now, we're going to use a bit of ink, and I have some, this is actually batik ink, and it's just some ink that's nice. It's water-based, but it'll give you a nice color that works well with the natural color of the gourd. So you'll go in if you like this, and it works like a watercolor. So you can put it on there. You can blend. You can do wet on wet. You can build it up. Once it's dry, you can go back over it again. You can build in layers. You can build it up pretty much as much as you want until you get the color combination that you're looking for. I really liked doing the inks because they give it a real natural color, but you can blend them really well like watercolors. Once you're finished and it's had time to dry, we're going to seal them. And this is something that we need to do outside where we have a lot of open air. But you're going to take your pieces and you're going to set them. I'll have a box or something you can set them in. And we're just going to give them 2 or 3 clear coats of like a spray shine. So we'll go outside, we'll spray them, and that's just going to seal it all in so that your ink is sealed. Once it's sealed, then we can add our finishings. Now, I have all sorts of different string. We have some cordage. I have some jump rings. We can go ahead and finish them however we choose, or maybe you can come up with a new way to do it that's your own way, but we'll work it through, and then you can have a finished pendant.